Let's be brutally honest. She didn't think you'd walk away, did she? She thought you'd stay. She thought she could push you, test you, take pieces of you, and you'd still come back because that's what men like you do. She counted on your loyalty, not realizing that loyalty without respect turns into quiet resentment. And one day, you got tired of being the man who waited for her to appreciate you. That's the moment everything changed, not for her, but for you. You see, women don't regret losing a man because he cries, pleads, or posts quotes about self-worth. They regret losing the man who became a mystery again, the one who stopped explaining himself, stopped chasing, stopped proving he was good enough. When you finally pull your attention back, when your silence replaces your affection, that's when her mind starts to collapse under its own memories. Because here's what she didn't expect. She thought you'd beg. She thought you'd compete with her ego. Instead, you became calm. You started to heal. You built a life where she wasn't the center anymore, and that's when the fear hit her. Regret doesn't come from your absence. It comes from her realizing she's no longer the woman who could reach you. That's the psychological shift most men never see, the moment when a woman finally feels what you once felt. But the key is that you never try to make her feel it. You simply become the man she lost. See, most guys think making her regret it means playing games or acting cold. That's not strength, that's performance. Real strength is when you quietly level up without needing to announce it. It's when your silence becomes your loudest message. When you no longer seek closure because you understand that closure is just an excuse to stay connected. And deep down, she knows it. Every woman, at some point, faces the haunting thought, what if I pushed away the man who actually cared? And that thought only comes when your energy changes, when your focus returns to your mission, your discipline, your purpose, because purpose makes you magnetic. A man in motion is always more attractive than a man waiting for permission to move. You have to understand something she never will admit. When you stop chasing, she starts remembering. She remembers the late night talks, the way you looked at her like she was safe. She remembers your presence, your patience, your effort, all the things she once took for granted. And those memories start turning into questions. Questions she'll never ask you directly. Does he still think about me? Has he moved on? Is someone else getting what I threw away? Those thoughts don't fade. They replay quietly, especially when she sees you at peace, because peace is the one thing she didn't expect you to find without her, and it drives her insane. The truth is, the moment she realizes she can't reach you anymore, not emotionally, not mentally, not spiritually, is the moment her regret becomes permanent. Not because she lost a guy, but because she lost the version of herself that existed when you loved her. That's the pain she'll never talk about. That's the storm she'll hide behind smiles and filters. But you have to make a choice, to never return to the version of you that begged for validation, to stop trying to remind her of your worth, and instead embody it so powerfully that she can feel it even in your absence. That's how you make a woman deeply regret losing you, by becoming the man she was never ready to meet, but now can never forget. It's not revenge, it's evolution. And the most poetic thing about it is that she taught you how to become this man by losing you. Question for you, when she walked away, did you chase her? Or did you let silence speak for you? Drop your answer in the comments. If this message hit deep, like the video. Subscribe for more raw truths about female psychology and the modern man's mindset. And share this with a friend who needs to hear it tonight, because sometimes losing her is how you finally find yourself. There's something powerful that happens when a man finally stops trying to be understood by a woman who stopped listening long ago. It's quiet at first, almost unsettling. You sit in the silence she left behind, and for the first time, you hear the truth. You were never too much. She just wasn't ready for a man who loved that deeply. That realization doesn't come easy, because when you gave her your best, it wasn't an act. It was your nature. You showed up. You stayed when things got hard. You gave her the kind of consistency that most men can't even fake. And she still drifted away. She confused your steadiness for weakness, your loyalty for predictability, your calm for a lack of spark. But what she didn't see is that you were the storm she didn't know how to stand in. Here's the dark truth most women won't admit. They crave stability until they get it. Then they start to crave chaos again. Not because they want pain, but because they mistake emotional volatility for passion. They confuse comfort with boredom, and in that confusion, they pull away from the one man who was actually safe. And that's why your silence after she leaves hurts her more than any argument ever could. Because silence is the one thing she can't manipulate. She can interpret your words, twist your tone, argue your intent, but silence is her reflection. It forces her to face herself, to see what she destroyed, to realize that her ego made her lose something real. When you go silent, when you stop checking her stories, stop sending those just checking in texts, stop orbiting her world, she notices. Not instantly, but eventually. Because women always feel the absence of masculine energy. It's not about dominance, it's about gravity. Your energy has weight, and when you pull it back, the space you leave behind becomes unbearable. That's when the memories start chasing her, not you. The laughter, the inside jokes, the way she felt when she was next to you, all those little things she thought she could replace with attention from others. But attention is not connection, and when she starts realizing that, the regret grows. But here's where most men destroy their own power. They break the silence too soon. They let a moment of weakness turn into a message she doesn't deserve. They go back, not because they still love her, but because they miss the version of themselves they were when they loved her. That's the trap. Because the man who returns too early ends up teaching her that his absence was just a bluff. And once she learns that, she'll never respect you again. Your strength is in your restraint. The longer you stay silent, the more her mind turns against her. She'll wonder what you're doing, who you're with, if you ever really cared. She'll start remembering the way you looked at her, not because she misses you, but because she misses how she felt being wanted by you. That's how regret is born, through the echoes of your absence. And listen carefully. You're not supposed to move on to make her jealous. You move on to make yourself free. You work on your body, your finances, your habits, not to show her what she lost, but to remind yourself what you were always capable of. Because the moment you start chasing purpose instead of closure, your value multiplies, not just to her, but to every woman watching from a distance. See, men who transform after heartbreak become the ones every woman secretly admires, but few are prepared to keep. Because your silence, your focus, your peace, they make you unpredictable again. And unpredictability is power. It's the one thing that makes a woman think twice before walking away next time. So remember this. When you stop chasing her, you start attracting better energy. When you stop proving your worth, you start embodying it. And when you stop trying to be the man she wanted, you become the man every woman respects. The greatest revenge isn't revenge at all. It's transformation. And nothing haunts a woman more than watching the man she took for granted become untouchable. Question for you. When she finally realized you were gone for real, did she reach out or did she stay silent too? Drop your answer in the comments. If this truth hit deep, like the video. Subscribe for more insights on female psychology and emotional mastery. Share this with a friend who's rebuilding himself right now, because silence isn't weakness, it's evolution. There's a moment every man faces after heartbreak, the crossroads between bitterness and rebirth. One path leads to resentment, the other to resurrection. And the difference between them is how you choose to interpret her leaving. Because she didn't just walk away to hurt you, she walked away to expose you, to show you the version of yourself that only loss could awaken. Most men never get there. They drown in the pain, replaying the breakup like a movie that never ends. They stalk her social media, wonder who she's texting, who she's smiling for. They measure their worth by her silence. And every time they do that, they forget something powerful. You don't heal by watching her life. You heal by rebuilding yours. You see, her regret doesn't start when she misses you. It starts when she sees you no longer need her. When she realizes that the man she once had emotional control over now walks through life with quiet confidence. because nothing shakes a woman's ego more than seeing the man she doubted becoming everything she once prayed for. And you don't need revenge. You don't need to flaunt success, post quotes, or prove anything. Your growth speaks for itself. When your body changes, your mind sharpens, your energy strengthens, people feel it before they see it. And she feels it too. Here's what you have to understand. When you were with her, she got used to your softness. She got comfortable knowing you'd always be there, always reaching out, always ready to fix things. So when you disappear into silence, when your focus shifts from her to yourself, her world tilts. Because for the first time, she's not in control of the story. You are. That's the power most men never discover, emotional detachment. It's not about being heartless. It's about choosing peace over patterns. Because every time you chase what left you, you're sending a message to yourself, I need permission to be okay. But when you let go, when you truly detach, your entire energy transforms. You go from needing validation to radiating value. That's the kind of shift that doesn't just attract her back, it makes her realize she never really knew you, because the version of you she left was incomplete, and the version of you she'll see now is the man she never thought you could become. But here's the twist. By the time she realizes it, it's already too late, because by then, your heart no longer beats for her approval. It beats for purpose. It beats for your mission. It beats for the man in the mirror who finally learned to respect himself enough to walk away. That's when her regret becomes permanent. Not when you glow up, not when you get attention, but when she feels invisible to the man who once saw her as everything. It's psychological, because the human mind craves what it no longer controls. And your detachment strips her of control completely, but you have to stay disciplined. Because she'll test you. Maybe she'll message out of nowhere, pretending she misses you. Maybe she'll like a post just to see if you still care, but don't take the bait. Her curiosity isn't love. It's her ego checking if it still matters. And the most powerful message you can send is no message at all. Silence isn't about pride. It's about self-respect. And every second you hold that silence, she remembers why she lost you. Because now, you're not the same man she left. You're calmer, stronger, more focused. You've replaced her chaos with clarity, and that clarity terrifies her because she realizes something she never expected. You were her emotional home, and she burned it down. And now she's out in the cold, trying to recreate what she once destroyed, realizing no one else makes her feel the same. That's when the regret becomes unbearable. That's when she finally sees the truth, not about you, but about herself. Because she thought she could replace you easily until she learned that real connection doesn't come twice. And in that realization, you win, not because she lost you, but because you found yourself. Question for you, if she tried to come back tomorrow, would you let her in or would you stay focused on your peace? Drop your answer in the comments. If this hit your heart, like the video. Subscribe for more deep lessons on strength, discipline, and female psychology. And share this with a brother who's in that silence right now. Because sometimes the best revenge is becoming a man who doesn't need to take any. There's a moment, long after the dust settles, when you stop looking back. Not because you've forgotten her, but because she no longer lives in the same part of your mind. The pain that once haunted you becomes fuel. The longing turns into purpose, and the silence you once feared becomes your sanctuary. That's when you know you've won, not because she's suffering, not because she's watching you from a distance, but because her opinion no longer has power over you. And that, right there, is the deepest form of regret she'll ever feel, knowing she can't affect you anymore. See, when a woman loses a man who truly cared for her, it doesn't hit all at once. It's slow, it's subtle. It creeps in during quiet nights when no one's around, when she scrolls through old messages, trying to feel something again, when she hears a song that used to belong to you both, when she sees a man who looks like you, but doesn't have your eyes, your calm, your presence. That's when regret starts to bleed through her confidence. And you've already moved on, not necessarily with someone else, but with yourself. You've built new habits, new standards, new strength. You no longer chase people, you attract them. You no longer beg for love, you embody it. You no longer explain your worth, you live it. That's the kind of transformation that shakes people to their core, because it's not loud, it's not dramatic, it's quiet, consistent, undeniable. And when she finally sees you living that truth, not performing it, but becoming it, she'll feel something she can't name. It's not jealousy, it's not guilt, it's realization. The realization that she was part of your story, but not your destiny. You were meant to meet her, yes. To love her, yes. To break because of her, absolutely. Because without that pain, you never would have learned what kind of man you truly are. You never would have known how deep your strength runs. You never would have understood that love without self-respect isn't love at all. It's dependency dressed up as devotion. And that's why, in the end, you thank her, silently. Not because you want her back, but because she unknowingly gave you the gift of awakening. She showed you what you never want to feel again. She taught you how to choose peace over passion, purpose over pain, and dignity over desire. That's growth most men never experience. But there's something else. You have to remember, she'll think about you again. It might be months from now, maybe years. It might come in a moment when her life looks perfect on the outside, but feels empty inside. She'll see something, a photo, a name, a memory, and it'll hit her. The man she thought she could replace became the man no one else could match, and she'll realize she didn't just lose you. She lost the safest place her heart ever had, and you won't even know it happened. Because you'll be too busy living, too busy creating, too busy being the man who no longer seeks closure, because your growth was the closure. You became the version of yourself that no breakup could break again. You became whole. So the next time you think about her, don't do it with pain. Do it with pride, because you survived something that was meant to destroy you and came back sharper, wiser, more powerful. That's what makes a man unforgettable. That's what makes her regret eternal, because while she's still trying to find a spark that feels real, you've become the fire, and in that moment you realize she didn't lose you, you set yourself free. Question for you. When you think about her now, do you still feel pain or do you feel power? Drop your answer in the comments. If this message gave you peace, like the video. Subscribe for more truths about female psychology and the mindset of the modern man. Share this with a brother who's healing right now, because one day she'll remember the man you were, but you'll be too far ahead to ever look back.